a lot of things, from spectacular knockouts with giant crowds gathered to watch to trash talking that goes on between the fighters. But sometimes someone steps out to challenge the normal and give us something truly memorable. I'm Walker from Full Mount MMA, and today we're going to be looking at 10 of the most bizarre weigh-ins in UFC history. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when we post our next video. Marcus Perez. We all know some fighters like taking on the role of the villain, but Marcus Perez took that to an extreme during the weigh-ins for UFC Fight Night 164. You can imagine the surprise for the audience when Perez turned around revealing his incredibly impressive Joker face paint.
I'm the Joker, baby!
Perez continued to put on a Heath Ledger impression with how he held himself throughout the rest of the weigh-in and even during the face-off. Unfortunately for Perez, Turman would put on his best impression of the Dark Knight, winning the fight by unanimous decision. Ion Cutelaba. To keep with our superhero theme, we're bringing you Ion Cutelaba's weigh-in from Fight Night 96. Cutelaba went a little more extreme than just painting his face. It was easy to notice Cutelaba's green hands as he made his way to the stage, but as he took off more layers, the audience very quickly realized he had entirely painted himself green, only getting more in character by ripping off his shirt.
How long did it take you to paint yourself green for the weigh-ins yesterday?
Trebuie să spune, nu, eu nu m-am vopsit în verde, eu m-am vopsit azi în alb. Eu sunt verde așa, de la natură.
I am actually naturally green and I only put white paint on today, so.
How did you get all the green away?
Cum am spus?
Like
M-am vopsit în alb.
I just painted my skin white.
That's fantastic.
Despite having a bit of fun during the weigh-ins, Cutelaba still performed well during the fight, getting a unanimous decision victory. Tom Lawler. Tom Lawler is one of those fighters that makes absolutely bizarre weigh-ins seem completely normal. He has walked out dressed as Steven Seagal, Harold Howard, and lots more. But the one we had to pick was his weigh-in at UFC 196 where he faced off against Corey Anderson. Lawler took off his shirt only to reveal his Conor McGregor tattoos, and it was amazing.
That's good. He had like my tattoos on him, like stuck on him in like stickers or something. Tom Lawler. Good. You gotta pop. You gotta pop for it.
Unfortunately for Lawler, he would lose this fight by unanimous decision, but he still won our hearts during the weigh-ins. Sean O'Connell. Sean O'Connell is a fighter that has too many amazing weigh-in moments for us to pick just one. O'Connell's pre-fight antics are some of the most charming in MMA. From his one-sided rock-paper-scissors match against Anthony Peroche to the bouquet of flowers he gave to Ilir Latifi, he's always done something to try to spice up the weigh-ins. In his match against Matt Van Buren, he broke the tension with a nice boop to the nose, and you can even see him saying it, which only makes the moment so much better.
As a professional courtesy, I told Ryan Jimmo for my first fight we should do something funny. I told John Vellante in New Zealand I wanted to do something funny. I told Matt Van Buren, hey, it's kind of my thing. I like to goof around at the weigh-ins. I'm going to do something funny. And he said, oh, okay. And I had come up with the idea of a cute little boop, just to add levity to what is, everyone tries to make it a big tense situation. The fight is picked. Joe Silva picks that fight for us. You know, we don't have to be jerks to one another. So I thought it'd be funny. He didn't laugh, but I don't really care because, like I said, the fight is already picked. If that motivated him to fight better in the first and second round today, fantastic, because, you know, the fans were treated to a better fight because of it, I guess.
O'Connell retired from the UFC and eventually came out of his retirement with the organization PFL. He continued his antics with the other organization and eventually won the light heavyweight belt with the promotion. After winning the belt, he came to the conclusion that it was a good time to end his professional career and went back into retirement. But we'll always remember his amazing weigh-ins.
Thank you to everyone who gave me a shot, everyone who cheered for me and laughed at my ridiculous weigh-ins. I love you all. I'm moving on. This is the last time you'll see me competing, but I'm never gonna leave this sport.
Angela Hill. Angela Hill is another one of those fighters that mixes up the pre-fight weigh-ins. She does it by dressing up as characters from her favorite video games. Angela Hill is a big fan of Street Fighter, and she first started dressing up as characters from the game at Invicta FC back in 2016. But Hill didn't stop at just dressing up as Dhalsim. She would also show her passion again for the Street Fighter characters at UFC Fight Night 104, where she dressed as Sagat.
I think MMA is a lot like Street Fighter. You have people from different countries with different styles, like especially when MMA first started, you have like judo guy versus jiu-jitsu guy, or like sumo guy versus kickboxer. Like, it was really cool, like the different matchups that you have, and that's basically what I wouldn't be surprised if they were playing Street Fighter and got the idea, you know? So it's like this cool, like, kind of video game kumite thing that happened and inspired a whole culture. So yeah, I think you have a lot of crossover fans with MMA and Street Fighter, and I've always loved just video games in general, so it's always kind of stuck with me.
Roxanne Modafferi. Much like Angela Hill, Modafferi started her pre-fight costumes during her time with Invicta FC. Fighters dressing up as different characters is relatively common within the all-women's promotion. But keeping up the trend after moving to the UFC, now that leads to some bizarre moments for all the fans that are unfamiliar with the other promotion. In the weigh-ins for Modafferi's bout against Macy Barber at UFC 246, Modafferi would again don herself a costume and power up before the fight.
Over 9,000! What, 9,000? There's no way that can be right!
In the end, Modafferi would take the win by unanimous decision, so maybe all that powering up in the weigh-ins paid off. Paige Van Zandt and Michelle Waterson. We have to include the stare-down between Paige Van Zandt and Michelle Waterson at UFC on Fox 22. It would definitely be easy to get stressed out before a fight, so what's a better way to deal with stress than a good old-fashioned dance-off? PVZ started the dance-off immediately after stepping off the scale, but Waterson didn't hesitate to join in herself and turn it back around on her opponent. Waterson would go on to get the submission victory over PVZ in the first round, but the dance battle didn't have a definitive victor. John Jones and Anthony Rumble Johnson. This moment's not actually at a weigh-in, but we loved the clip, so we had to include it. Dana White has stepped between countless fighters during their face-offs, but after John Jones' historic pre-fight brawl with DC, it would make sense that Dana White could be especially on edge when John Jones faced off against Anthony Rumble Johnson. Unfortunately for White, Jones and Johnson decided to play a prank on him, pretending to start another fight. But when White stepped in to stop it, they couldn't help but start laughing. I can't imagine having to step in between two professional fighters, so even though he's used to it, he could probably use a break after that one.
I went to the back before the stare down and I was like, John, let's do something on the stage just to get Dave Schaller. Because I thought he was going to be on the stage, and then John was like, no, it's Dana on the stage. Then I was like, who cares? Let's do something anyway. And he was like, hey, I'm going to headbutt you and let's do the whole scene like Dana Cormier. I was like, cool, let's do it. So we got on stage and we did it, and it worked out perfect. Dana damn near died. Yeah, he thought we were serious, but it was so funny, the look on his face and the high-pitched voice that Dana had. I've never heard that man talk like that, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman. During the weigh-ins for their bout at UFC 162, Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman got a bit closer than people expected, to say the least. It's common for fighters to try to intimidate one another during the weigh-ins, but this time when Weidman stepped up, Silva matched, and that went on until eventually the two fighters got, well, let's just say the two really got to know each other. After the stare down, Joe Rogan wasted no time asking Weidman what it was like to kiss Anderson Silva.
All right, I'm here with the challenger. Two questions. First of all, what is it like to kiss Anderson Silva? He has nice lips. My wife, don't get jealous.
Wagner Prado and Phil Davis. For those of you who don't know, Wagner Prado made his UFC debut back in 2012 on UFC on Fox 4 versus Phil Davis. Sadly, the fight would be declared a no contest after Davis poked Prado's eye early in the first round.
He's very frustrated. He came here to show the world his type of fighting, and he didn't care if he won or lose, but he wanted to show his type of fighting, and he knows how to throw down, and he comes to fight and knock out people. He wants to fight. He don't care if he can see 2 or 3 persons. He'll hit the one in the middle. He wants to fight. He's a warrior.
Later that same year, they would be scheduled to rematch at UFC 153, and they'd take this opportunity to have a bit of fun. Prado signaled to Davis to play along right before the face-off, before making an amazing reference to the Three Stooges' defense to eye poking. Zombie versus Zombie. We couldn't find enough footage on this clip to make it one of our regular entries, but it's so fun that we couldn't help but include it anyways as a bonus clip. Back in March of 2011, Leonard Garcia was set to have his rematch against Chong Sung-jung, the Korean Zombie. Garcia decided to have a bit of fun at the weigh-ins by wearing a giant zombie mask, giving us this beautiful zombie versus zombie fight. That's just about gonna wrap it up for our list of 10 of the most bizarre weigh-ins in the UFC. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button down below. There's a lot of content we can't fit into these videos, so be sure to let us know anything that you'd like to see in a future one. Here's our favorite comments from fighters who got instant karma. Abu said, finally a list where the #1 fighter doesn't have the last name Askren. Nev S said, just add some clips instead of pictures. I don't want to see a slideshow. Red Odin actually hit the nail on the head. If we used clips instead of pictures, we'd get copyright struck in an instant. Nicholas said, hold on, Diaz wasn't showboating, he was frustrated and annoyed because he wanted to bang. Last and certainly not least, Sarah Fibrinus said, sounds like a The Verge tech reviewer. If you want your comment to be featured in the next video, be sure to comment on this one. Special thanks to Lucas for editing the video, and this script was also written by me. Our links will be down in the description below. If you're wanting to watch more of our lists, be sure to click either of these two videos and subscribe to see when we post the next one. See you guys.